This is an exciting day for ESL Authority. This is our very first video interview, and I was fortunate enough to sit down with my friend Kristine here in China. She's been teaching about 3 years so far, and kind of get an idea about how she got started, what her experience has been, and what tips she has for anyone looking to do the same. So I hope you enjoy. Kristine, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And just want to talk a little bit about your experience in China. So
Great.
how long have you been here?
I've been in China for 2.5 years now.
Okay, and where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Indiana in the States.
Okay, and have you been in Shenzhen the entire time?
Yeah, I have been in Shenzhen. I've been placed in a couple of different public primary schools in Shenzhen. So I've lived in 3 districts in the city.
If it's possible to sum up, I don't know, your experience so far, just a little bit about how you've enjoyed it or haven't enjoyed it, so we'd love to hear it.
I think my experience has been really great so far. I originally came to China to teach English for a year, and just really enjoyed the experience. I like the quality of life that teaching here has offered me. I've been able to travel a lot, and I've found teaching to be a very rewarding profession.
Okay. What about some of the challenges that maybe people might not anticipate coming here? Outside, I guess, yeah, let's start from anything from the application process to the hiring process to the visa process and then to actual living in China.
So the application process was not too difficult for me because I was working with a company based in the States.
Okay.
So they helped streamline a lot of the process, like getting my visa, getting placed in a school in the city, and as well as any immunizations that I needed, or to get my medical report passed through China.
Okay, that's nice.
So yeah, it was really, really easy. I applied in, I think, May, and I found out that I could go 2 weeks later.
Okay, wow.
So that's all there really was to it.
How long from your application until you actually got to China? Do you remember how long that was?
Probably 3 months.
Okay.
I applied in May and then was leaving for China early August.
Okay, and the program handled everything.
Yes.
Okay. What about since arriving in China? I know it's probably not as unfamiliar as now, 2.5 years later. What were some of the initial challenges that you found?
The first challenge I had was I was placed a little bit outside of the central part of the city.
Okay.
So being able to get around without knowing Chinese was really difficult. So being able to maneuver through the buses, because I didn't have a metro that got all the way out to me.
Oh, wow.
So everything's in Chinese characters. So that was definitely me relying on other people who had lived in China longer than I have to figure out what buses to take, how to get around, because I was from, I'm from a small town in Indiana, so we don't have metros, we don't have public transportation.
Okay.
So it's a big learning curve for me.
How did you end up out there? Was that assigned randomly, or did you want to be somewhere a bit more remote?
No, I didn't choose it. It was assigned randomly. So I knew I'd be placed within Shenzhen, but I wasn't sure where.
Okay.
So that was kind of the gamble that I was taking, but I liked having a program help structure everything for me.
Okay. What about the teaching in general? I guess your day-to-day life in the classroom. Did you have a teaching background before you came?
I did not. So I came from a marketing background in university, and then I was working in sales for a year. And coming to teach in China, I definitely think being able to think on your feet is probably the biggest skill that you could have to become a pretty good teacher in China.
So kind of like flexibility and adaptability.
Yeah, flexibility, being able to, when I first came to China, we had a month of TEFL training.
Oh, okay.
So I arrived in Zhuhai, which is a city in southern China, and the second day I got to China, I was in front of a class of students teaching them. So that was how we got learning by doing.
As part of your training, right?
As part of our training, yeah. So it was an interesting training program because we were teaching a summer camp of students as part of us getting our hours for TEFL teaching and the students getting a little bit of kind of free free English experience.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
So yeah, I was really nervous the first class I officially taught at my primary school.
What was it like? Do you remember it?
I remember talking to people, being like, "What do I talk about? Like, what do I introduce to the students about myself?" Luckily, I had a friend who had a PowerPoint of what his first class was when he taught here. So I kind of just based my lesson around that. Definitely, my heart was beating. I was nervous, even though they're fourth graders. You're managing 50 fourth graders for the first time, and I don't think
that's typical for primary school.
That's
right?
typical here. Yeah, you have 50 kids, so I don't even think being a teacher in the States could 100% prepare you to be a teacher here.
Okay, interesting. What would be for teachers that are considering coming to China or teaching abroad in any capacity, what would you give them a bit of advice either before they come or to help prepare or something to help their first few classes go smoothly? What would it be?
I would definitely tell them to over prepare for classes, so have a lot of different activities to do in case, you never know when an activity is going to flop.
Yeah.
Sometimes the students just aren't feeling whatever you want to do. It could be awesome, like you could have spent hours preparing a lesson, and the student, it just like falls to dead ears. So I think definitely over prepare, have a backup game.
Something you know that they're going to love.
Yeah.
So it's not always, I gotcha. Okay. What about your life in China outside of teaching? What have you done? Have you seen any of the country? What are some things that you do outside the classroom?
One of my favorite things about teaching in China is you get plenty of holidays. Chinese are very great, generous with their holidays. So I think I'll have about 6 paid weeks of vacation here at a public school. Yeah. So they definitely have a lot of opportunities for you to travel around either the country or travel abroad. I found that over a lot of the big holidays, I will travel internationally, just because you have about 1 billion people who are traveling at the same time, and it's really chaotic in China. So I've been to probably every year I'm traveling to maybe 4 different countries.
Oh, wow.
And then weekends traveling around China.
Yeah. So it's easy. You find it easy to get around, assuming there's like public transportation and like easier ways to kind of navigate.
Yeah, getting around isn't a problem when you're traveling to other Chinese cities. I assume you're going to a place where tourists go to as well.
Yeah.
So it's not. Very few places you travel to in China are so off the beaten path that you can't find someone who can't speak English or some kind of guidebook or some online reference.
Or somewhere where your phone will work or something.
Yeah, right? You get a VPN and you can go anywhere.
Yeah. I guess in winding down, you obviously seem like you've enjoyed your experience here. You're still here. You stayed longer than you originally thought.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this for everybody? Like if somebody's on the fence about teaching, what would you say to them? And is it for everybody? Like, what does your personality need to be like in order to have even if it's not a career choice, to have a good time, to enjoy the experience?
I think you definitely need to be flexible.
Yeah.
Like I said, being flexible teaching is one thing, but being flexible in a country where things aren't always going to go your way.
Yeah.
People, unless you speak fluent Chinese, you're going to have miscommunications.
Yeah.
And China itself is not the most foreigner friendly, and it's I would say being able to roll with the punches, right? Being able to, if things aren't going your way, you have to be a little bit optimistic, and you have to have a sense of humor, and you have to be able to
take it all in stride.
Take it all in stride, build on it. But if you are flexible, there's so much adventure, and every day is so different, and you can use that as an experience to learn more about yourself and just travel more. So yeah, I would say if you like adventure and you like traveling, or think you may like traveling, this is a great option for you. And if you stay a year, great. If you don't stay the whole year, I know people who had to go back after a few months here.
Yeah.
And it was no problem. People, we all understand if this is not your cup of tea. It's not for everybody. But yeah, I think if you are interested in teaching abroad or traveling a little bit more, there's no harm in taking a year off to try it. Your jobs are always going to be back in the States if you want to go back. Or, maybe you like living abroad and you decide to stay here or decide to continue on outside of teaching.
All right, good stuff. Well, I appreciate the time, and good luck with the rest of your time in China.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks,
All right.
Quincy.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future interviews or videos.